Good evening everyone. I'm Ankit and you're watching StudyIQ IAS English channel, and today is 26th of March, so let us get started with our today's discussion. Our today's discussion is centered around the articles that have appeared in today's Indian Express newspaper, and these are the articles that we are going to discuss. The first article is about the gold monetization scheme, because government has actually decided to stop the medium term and long term durations of this particular scheme. So we'll try to understand in general what the scheme was all about and also solve a PYQ which appeared in the 2016 examination. Now this gold monetization scheme is a method to mobilize resources in the economy, particularly a very priced resource known as gold metal. So this article pertains to GS paper 3 syllabus that deals with the mobilization of resources, and also why we want to mobilize gold from domestic sources. In a way, we want to reduce the import of gold and also reduce the current account deficit. So it also deals with the external sector, again the part of economy syllabus. Then in the second article we'll discuss about the Signal mobile app, and why Signal mobile app is a news, because it was seen that the US defense personnel and also the planners on the US government, they were using Signal app to transmit details about the how and where the bombing mission should happen. And this group, which was used by the US government official, also included a media person, and that is why the information was leaked much before the bombing mission could take place. So in that regard, we'll understand the details about Signal app, what makes Signal app so special and how is it different from apps like Instagram, WhatsApp or even Telegram. So this is a matter relating to science and technology, therefore the relevant paper is again GS paper 3. In the third discussion, we'll be understanding some details about the Vikramshila University, because we have understood that the government, it wants to utilize the tourism potential of this particular university and also attract tourism in a city of Bihar where this Vikramshila University is located. Now this kind of a discussion is important from art and culture and also from the ancient and medieval history perspective, and all of this is relevant therefore from GS paper 1 perspective. In the fourth article, which I've taken from PIB, it deals with Delhi chili. Delhi chili is actually a chili which belongs to the state of Sikkim and also grown in few other northeast states. Now this chili was recently exported to different countries including Solomon Islands. So we'll understand what are the growing conditions and what makes this chili so special. In the fifth article, we'll be understanding the problems that the government has identified about implementation of heat action plan. Now, as the summers are coming, and you can understand in Delhi, the maximum temperatures has increased quite a bit. Now today I guess the maximum temperatures in the month of March is 39. So you can understand the relevance of heat action plan in coming summer months becomes quite important, and therefore the government has to prepare so as to deal with what happens in cases of increased heat wave. So in that regard, we'll try to understand the problems that the implementation of heat action plan is facing. This is relevant from GS paper 3 syllabus, particularly with the topic of disaster management. And in the last discussion, we'll be taking a very deep overview of the problem or the disease of tuberculosis, because we understand the government is quite serious about removing tuberculosis entirely from India. But despite various governments' best efforts, we have seen that the problem is still prevalent in Indian society. So we'll try to understand first of all, what is TB? What kind of a disease is it? Is it a bacterial or is it a viral disease? And also, what are the challenges that the government is facing in order to, before eradication of tuberculosis could happen? So this is a mains related discussion that we'll take, and this is relevant from GS paper 2 perspective, because you can understand social sector, particularly with an emphasis on health sector, becomes important from GS paper 2 syllabus. Understood? So therefore, these are the articles that we are going to discuss. Now, good evening. Yashi, Saujanya, Lydia, Baga, Shushmita, Amar, Mohit, Shweta, Neha, all of you, good evening. Now, someone asked me yesterday, sir, is alimony liable to be taxed in India? Well, the answer to that question I found out is that alimony in India is taxed on a two different basis. Suppose if you make a one-time lump sum payment to your partner, that is not taxed in India, but if you make timely or monthly payment to your partner, that will be counted as the income of the other half and otherwise will be liable to be charged for income tax. Understood? Now I forgot to ask this question, but vaguely I could recall it. Now the notes for the session will be available immediately after the class ends on the Telegram channel ATS Live. So you can search ATS Live on your mobile app, and also alternatively you can scan the QR code which will take you directly to my channel. Now, this is the mains practice question that we are going to discuss today. Despite progress, tuberculosis remains a major public health concern in India, and we have to identify the key challenges that hinder India's goal of TB elimination by 2025 and also suggest policy measures to address them. And you have to write this answer in 250 words. Do not worry if you don't know it. I will provide you with the relevant material in our today's discussion, so please stay tuned for that particular article. Now we'll start our today's discussion with this first article, which appeared on the economy page of the Indian Express newspaper, which today is on page 15. And you can say the government is trying to end the gold monetization scheme for medium term and long term deposits. So in this regard, let us first of all try to understand what is this gold monetization scheme and why is government trying to end this? Because of evolving market condition. What is evolving market condition? That the prices of gold has increased a lot. So therefore, any gold monetization, when it will mature, the government will have to pay the market price of that particular gold deposit, and therefore with increase of prices, the amount of outgo by the government will increase. So as to reduce the financial burden, the government has made such decision. What is important to note, that the short-term bank deposits or short-term gold deposits by bank under gold monetization scheme will continue at the discretion of individual banks. If the individual banks feel that the scheme is actually remunerative, it is financially beneficial for them, so it will continue. However, the medium term and long term scheme will be ending. So in this regard, let us try to understand first of all what is a gold monetization scheme. Now earlier there was a similar scheme in place known as gold deposit scheme, and this gold monetization scheme is a revamped version of the older scheme which was launched in November 2015, and the intention of the government was that there is a large amount of idle gold which is available in our households. For example, the women in our household, they have too much jewelry. Similarly, people have invested in gold in form of their investments, in form of buying gold bricks, gold biscuits, gold coin, etc. Now these gold jewelry and coins, these are available in our household, but you can understand these are idle thing. For example, if a woman has jewelry, there are only few instances in a particular year when that woman will be able to wear that jewelry. Another time, the economic value of that gold remains static. Understood? So this is the problem that is prevalent with gold deposits in India. Now government wanted to monetize this gold. So it said that instead of keeping your gold jewelry, your gold investment in form of bank locker or in form of your house, which is quite risky. You can understand there might be a theft, God forbid, in your house, which can lead to thieves stealing your entire gold investment and jewelry. So in that case, government said that why don't you deposit your idle gold with us and we'll pay you interest. In addition, whenever this deposit matures, we'll pay you the market price of the gold, right? So to actually use or make use of the idle gold which is lying there in your houses, and for making it productive use and also getting consumers to either sell their gold and store it with banks, it could merge the formal economy. And also by using the gold which is there idle in the Indian households, the what government can do, it can overall reduce the gold import in our country, because we understand Indians love gold, and to fulfill the domestic demand, government and the private companies have to import gold from the other countries, and it leads to significant outflow of dollars. So in order to reduce current account deficit, which in India's case is quite high, and to use this gold productively which is lying idle in your house, government said why don't you deposit the gold to us and we'll pay you interest in addition to capital gains which you already will have. So this is the intention of gold monetization scheme. Now GMS or gold monetization scheme, it composed of three components, that is short term bank deposits, medium term government deposits and long term government deposits. Now these two will be ending and this will continue at the discretion of banks. Understood? Now we'll understand the gold monetization scheme. Now the amount of interest that will be payable in case you deposit gold for short term deposits, it will be decided by the banks, or it was decided by the banks on the basis of prevailing international lease rates, other costs, market conditions, which is borne by the banks. So it is the banks who will pay you the interest in case you make short term gold monetization deposits in the banks. Wherever if you make medium term and long term deposits with the government for gold, the interest rate will be decided by the government in consultation with the RBI, and it will be borne by the central government. Now government has earlier fixed interest interest rate of 2.25% for medium term deposits and 2.5% for long term bonds. Whereas the interest which is available to you for short term bank deposits, this is decided by the bank in cases of prevailing interest rate. Now let us understand how this gold monetization works. Suppose in the year 2020, you had made a deposit of 10 gram gold with the bank, right? So you deposited 10 gram gold with the bank, and in 2020 the market price of 10 gram gold was rupees 60,000. Understood? Now this is to be matured in the year 2022, right? Now in 2022, the same 10 gram gold which you had deposited with the bank, now the price of this gold increases to 80,000 rupees. And the banks had said that for this 10 gram of gold, bank will pay you 2.5% of interest per annum. So now in 2022, what is the interest of 2.5% per annum for a deposit of 60,000 rupees or 60,000 rupees worth of gold? This comes out as an annual deposit of 1500 rupees. So your total interest payment after 2 years becomes 3000 rupees. So the amount which will be payable to you after this matures in 2022, that is after 2 years, is 80,000 plus this 3000 rupees. That makes the total gain you get is 83,000 rupees. So this is how the gold monetization scheme works. That is the interest which you are liable to get. You will be liable to get on the deposit amount, that is for 10 grams of gold that you have deposited. You had deposited at that time the value of gold for 10 grams was 60,000 rupees. So you'll be liable to pay, or you'll be liable to get interest for the gold that you had deposited back then. So this is 2.5% of interest on 60,000 rupees. Now gold is not a static commodity. The value of gold increases or decreases, and in 2022 the value of gold increased to 80,000 rupees. So these are the two kind of income that you will get. You will get capital gains out of the gold, and you will also get interest income out of the deposit. So these are two types of income that you will get out of the gold deposit. Earlier you would not have deposited this, so technically 80,000 rupees is increasing, but you will not be able to get this kind of an interest. So this is what makes this kind of scheme quite appealing to the people. And also in terms of tax burden, it is completely tax free. That means you are not required to pay interest on this 3000 rupees income under your interest account, and you will not be liable to pay increase or whatever capital gains you are making. You are not liable to pay any kind of a tax. Understood? So this is how gold works. Now I have taken the screenshot from the RBI website. You can see from this screenshot that for short-term bank deposits, the principal repayment will be made in terms of gold or INR equivalent in value of the gold deposited at the time of redemption. So suppose you deposited 10 gram, earlier its price was 60,000 rupees, now its prices has increased to, it has increased to 80,000 rupees. So this is how you get capital gains. Now in terms of interest payment, this interest payment is made in terms of INR value of the gold which you had deposited at the time. So technically interest rate is available on the deposited amount of gold, that is 60,000 rupees. So this is how it works for all the types of these type of here banks will be paying you the interest. Here in both cases, government will pay you the interest. Understood how this gold monetization scheme works? Any doubt if you have, you can please feel free to ask me in the comment section. Now, let's see if you can solve this particular PYQ. This PYQ, as you can see, appeared in 2016. So please be quick in solving this question. Good evening, Chini. No Sarang today. Sarang is usually the first one to answer. Is Saujanya there? Yes, Saujanya is there. Amar, hello. Where is your answer? Shushmita says option C. Sarang, oh, second one today. Well, what is the purpose or purposes of government's sovereign gold bond and gold monetization scheme? To bring idle gold lying with Indian household in the economy, yes. To reduce India's dependence on gold import, yes. Or to promote FDI and gold and jewelry sector, well, this is not the intention of the government. Actually, the intention is to first of all use the idle gold which is lying there in your bank account or in your bank locker in your household. And in order to do that, government obviously will reduce the overall demand of gold in India. That now instead of importing, the companies can source gold from these kind of deposited. So these two are the correct option 1 and 3, and option C is the right answer. Yes, every one of you is correct. See, this is how you are able to solve PYQs. That if you read the newspaper every day, you understand how to read these newspapers, you will be able to solve these kind of PYQs every day. Understood? Now, this is the second article which we are going to discuss. This appeared in the world page and also in the explained section. That you can see this is comedy of errors which is happening. Yemen war plans, they were shared on a group using the Signal mobile app, and this group also included a journalist. So this journalist, what he did, like every journalist, they leaked this news before this bombing mission on Yemen could happen. So this is a kind of comedy of errors that is happening in US. Now Trump or top Trump administration officials, they use messaging app Signal to share war plans, and accidentally this group also included the Atlantic magazine's editor-in-chief, who indeed published this first-hand account detailing the discussion that happened over the app hours before the strike on Iran-backed Houthi rebels by the US military. So this is the context of the article that we are going to discuss, but we do not have to understand or discuss this comedy of errors. What makes it important from our exams point of view is what is this mobile app known as Signal and how it works. Now, Signal is a mobile app that can be used for direct messaging, group chats, phone calls, and even video calls. So this makes it very similar to apps like Telegram, WhatsApp, where you also have these kind of functionalities. But what app makes this app different? Why aren't the officials using WhatsApp or Telegram to transmit their messages, or why are they relying on Signal app? Now, this app uses end-to-end encryption for its messaging and calling services. That is, while using this end-to-end subscription or end-to-end encryption, what happens that a code from your mobile is generated, and the person you're sending that message to, that mobile generates the same code. So technically only those mobile phones will be able to view the message. So for example, if any hacker interprets the signal of the message transmission, they won't be able to deduce the actual message because it is available in the scrambled form, and only the person who will have the decipher key, that is the person sending the message and the person receiving the message, they will be only able to see that message in actual content. So this is how end-to-end encryption works. That is, a third party cannot view the conversation, content, or even listen to your calls. Now you'll ask, even the WhatsApp has this kind of facility, so why are people using Signal and not WhatsApp? Well, the reason is that Signal app also does very less amount of data collection, and it includes a feature that also allows for automatic deletion of message within a certain time frame. So this adds to another data protection system. Now also Signal's encryption protocol is available in public, that it is open source, meaning that even third party and independent experts, they can verify how this encryption code works, and therefore it increases the transparency of the functioning of the app, and therefore it ensures that the app and its functioning remain safe. This kind of a facility is not available in apps like Telegram and WhatsApp because their source code is not open source, whereas Signal app, which offers very minimal data collection, and it also makes it encryption protocol available to public. So this is how transparency work. Understood? And this is what makes this app more desirable for special or hidden communications as compared to WhatsApp and Telegram. Now, can Signal be hacked? Technically, the answer is yes. Well, Signal is quite more secure than the conventional texting. However, this app can still be hacked, and one of the biggest risk of using Signal is that where the data can be stored. For example, you can technically log it in your laptops, and whenever you want to access WhatsApp through laptop or computers, you can log it, the WhatsApp, in a separate computer. Similarly, if you want to access Signal in addition to your mobile, you can log into your account using your laptop and computers. So technically hackers, they can send a malware to your computers and laptops and technically extract the information from that particular device, not from your phone, because phone, it uses end-to-end encryption, so therefore communication between two phones, they are secure. But when the messages is also relayed on your WhatsApp, in your desktop computers or your laptops, they can be hacked using a malware, which is a software which extracts information made by the hackers. So therefore Signal app, it is not accredited for use of classified data. So therefore technically this app is more secured as compared to WhatsApp and Telegram. But is it hackable? The answer is yes. Now, let's see if you are able to solve this question. Consider the following statement regarding end-to-end encryption. In end-to-end encryption, only the sender and the recipient can access the message content, preventing even the service provider from decrypting it. This is the first statement. And second statement, end-to-end encryption is primarily used in messaging applications, but is not commonly implemented in financial transaction. Now, what is end-to-end encryption? End-to-end encryption ensures that the protection of the message remains when it is sent from one device to another device. So technically these can have multiple applications. These can have applications in your messaging services. These can also have implications on applications in use of codified or a very secret kind of a data. So for example, if you're using it for financial transactions, so suppose you send a financial data from one bank to another, and if those are end-to-end encrypted, that means it can't be intercepted or hacked. So therefore end-to-end encryption has multiple applications, not just used in messaging applications but also in financial transactions. That makes second statement a correct statement. It is incorrect. First statement is a straightforward one, therefore a correct statement, and we have to identify correct one. So option A here is the right answer. Well, Sarang, second option is incorrect. Shweta, Shushmita, second option is incorrect. It can't be, the statement says it can't be commonly implemented in financial transaction. The answer is incorrect. You might be seeing HTTPS, right, in your websites. That is what end-to-end encryption is. That is the signal. It can't be intercepted. So technically you're using net banking online, that also has the end-to-end encryption. So second statement becomes incorrect, first one is right. Now, like every day I tell you to join Sampoorn batches. And why do I tell you? Because in Sampoorn batches we cover every subject, be it science and tech, be it polity, be it economy. I take for example economy classes. So for example, if you want to enroll for Sampoorn batches, what you can do is you can go to StudyIQ website. You are required to create an account here first. Go to StudyIQ website and click on explore courses. Now the courses which is applicable for you is particularly in the English batches, because I understand most of you are from southern part of the country, some of you are also from northeast, so technically your understanding of Hindi would not be very good, and it is quite understandable and quite okay. So for that, you can enroll yourself in the English courses. You can scroll through the courses. English courses available here, UPSC IS English. Now please click on the tile here which says UPSC IS Live GS P2I Foundation batches for 2026. This is a morning batch which the admissions of which will close on 31st of March. Now right now this course is available at 37,499 rupees, and you can get this course at a much cheaper rate by using the code. I'll tell you how to apply the code. Now there is an option here to add promo code. Click on add promo code, and from here you'll be required to enter a coupon code, write ATS live. As soon as you write ATS live, click on apply. Now you can see with the discount of 7,500 rupees, the course value right now is available at 29,999. Similarly for gold it is 19,999, and for silver it is 9,999. And how you're getting this kind of a discount? By using the code ATS live, which gets you maximum discount of the platform. Understood? So this is how you approach the courses. Now let's take a look at the other article. This one actually appeared in the yesterday's newspaper, but since we had a lot of articles yesterday, I actually dropped this article for yesterday. Now I'm covering it today. Now this article says that after Nalanda, another Bihar university is set to rise from the ruins, and this article appeared yesterday on page 8. Now the Archaeological Survey of India, it is working to develop the Vikramshila University in Bihar as a very popular tourist attraction. So what are the qualities of Vikramshila University which has the potential to make it a very popular tourist attraction? Let us find that out in our today's discussion. Now about Vikramshila University, it is one of the most renowned centers in Buddhist learning in ancient India alongside Nalanda University. And the location of this Vikramshila University is that it is located in a village located in Bhagalpur district of Bihar, and it was founded back in late 8th or early 9th century by then Pala king Dharmpal. Understood? So these are the important details that you have to remember. In addition to that, this university specialized in Tantrayan Buddhism, which focuses on tantric practices and rituals. Now, this university flourished during the Pala period, which existed between 8th to 12th century, because these Pala rulers, they actually very promoted and gave certain resources to the university, allowing it to flourish. Now, notable scholars who were present in this university, it is Atish Dipankar Srijan, who was a great Buddhist scholar from Vikramshila and had played a very instrumental role in reviving Buddhism in the region of Tibet. Now, you understand, Tibet, the primary religion practiced in Tibet is Buddhism, and it can be directly attributed to Atisha Dipankar Srijana, who played a key role in revival of the religion in Tibet. Understood? So, these are the only relevant details that you need to know in order to approach this kind of an article. Now, based on this article, let us try to solve a practice question. Consider the following statements regarding Vikramshila University. It was established by King Harsha in 7th century AD. Incorrect. It specialized in Mahayana Buddhism, focusing on philosophical debates and scriptures. I told you, incorrect. It focused on Tantric Buddhism, therefore, which did not focus on philosophical debates, rather it practice on the tantric practices and rituals. Atish Dipankara Srijana, renowned scholar from Vikramshila, played a key role in revival on Buddhism in Tibet. This one is a correct statement. So first and second incorrect, third one is correct. We have to identify correct statement. So option B here is the right answer. Good evening, Rishabh. Shushmita, option B is correct. Yes, SS and Baga Spinks, you both are right. No problem, Shushmita, even if you write an incorrect answer, I won't punish you. You did not delete the comments. Okay. Well, in my interface, it shows comment deleted. So technically, I'll know you have deleted your comment. Okay. Now we move to another article. This article actually appeared in the PIB, but I saw that this deals with a very important commodity, dale chili or dale chili. Therefore, we are going to discuss this article. And why we have taken this article? Because the Agriculture Processed Food Products Export Development Authority, APEDA, it has which functions under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry, it has successfully exported 15,000 kilograms of a GI tag commodity, dale chili, from Sikkim to the Solomon Islands. So this brings our attention to this particular kind of chili, which is available or is grown in the northeastern states. Now, dale chili, which is also known as fireball chili or dale khursani, it is a highly pungent, bright red colored chili, which is grown in the Sikkim region and also in other eastern Himalayan regions, that is particularly in the northeastern region of our country. Now, yes. Now, this chili is famous for its intense spiciness, and also it has rich nutritional value and brings a very unique flavor. Now, in terms of nutritional value, this chili is rich in vitamin A, C, E, along with potassium. Whereas this chili, in terms of its propensity of spiciness, which is inquired upon, or it is estimated by the Scoville hit units. This Scoville hit units, the dale chili has about 1 lakh to 3.5 lakh SHU, which makes it one of the spiciest chili in the world. Now, SHU or Scoville hit units, it is a measurement of pungency or the spiciness of a chili and other spicy foods. Now, in terms of GI tag, this chili was awarded a GI tag back in 2020 by the Department of Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, and which functions under the Ministry of Commerce and Industry. And the major producing areas of this chili, in addition to Sikkim, are other northeastern states, that is in the Bengal region of Darjeeling, Kalimpong, and also in the Arunachal Pradesh. Now, Darjeeling and Kalimpong is located in the Siliguri corridor, so that is why it technically belongs to the northeastern part of our country. However, in terms of state, this is in West Bengal. Understood? Now, let's see if you can solve another question. Consider the following statements regarding dale chili. Dale chili, also known as fireball chili, is primarily cultivated in states of Assam and Meghalaya. Dale chili is rich in vitamin B along with potassium, contributing to its high nutritional value. It was granted a geographical indication tag by Ministry of Agriculture and Farmers Welfare. Please let me know the correct answer quickly. Well, second statement is incorrect. You can say it is not rich in vitamin A, it is rich in vitamin A and C. Now it was granted a geographical indication tag by DPIIT, which is a part of Ministry of Commerce and Industry, not Ministry of Agriculture. Now the first statement, Dale chili is primarily cultivated in states of Assam and Meghalaya. What did I tell you? It is primarily cultivated in Sikkim, also in West Bengal and Arunachal Pradesh, right? Not in Assam and Meghalaya. So all these three statements are incorrect and we have to identify correct statement. Option D, none of these statements are correct. Understood? So in this question, all of you have given a wrong answer. No need to worry. Now that you know the right answer, the job or my job is done. Now let's move to another article. This one actually appeared in the explain section of the Indian Express, highlighting India's lacking heat action plans. Now this article also appeared in yesterday's newspaper, but because of time constraint I was not able to take it. So let us take this article today. Now the context of this article is that most of the heat action plans put forth by multiple Indian cities, they lack long-term strategies to how to tackle growing problem of the extreme heat in our country. Now a new study has found that, and it has also said that cities who have such strategies in place, they have not implemented them effectively. So technically all the heat action plans do not have a particular or good implementation. Now such gaps in planning, it can result into higher number of heat related deaths due to more frequent, intense and prolonged heat waves that are there in the country. And you can understand we have not even seen the end of the March, and today the soaring temperatures outside in Delhi is quite high. So this is the problem that we are going to face, and for that we need to be prepared all that we can do in order to minimize the impact of heat on the human population. Now first of all, let us understand the very definition of heat waves. I've taken this definition from the website of IMD. Now the criteria for declaring whenever there is a heat wave, this heat wave is considered, please pay very close attention, only if the maximum temperature of a particular station reaches more than 40 degrees centigrade for a plain area and more than 30 degrees centigrade for a hilly region. Now after this condition has been achieved, then we can decide whether or not heat wave is in place based on two criteria. First is based on departure from the normal temperature. So for example, if the temperature in plain area is more than 40 degrees centigrade and the departure from normal is between 4.5 to 6.4 degrees centigrade, then it is called as an instance of heat wave. Another factor is that departure from normal is more than 6.4 degrees centigrade, then that is categorized as a severe heat wave. Now the second parameter is based on actual maximum temperature. If the actual maximum temperature goes beyond 45 degrees centigrade, that is called as heat wave, and if it is going beyond 47 degrees centigrade, that is called a severe heat wave. So this is how the classification of heat wave is done. By which organization classifies it as heat wave? That is the Indian Meteorological Department, IMD. Now let us understand the heat action plans. Now heat action plan is actually a plan which provides a early warning system and a preparedness plan in cases of extreme heat waves happen in a particular place. Now these include immediate as well as long-term actions that the government will take in order to increase the preparedness of the population to deal with heat waves. It will also have information sharing and response coordination, how different bodies, be it hospitals, be it government agencies, be it police, be it social welfare department, will act in cases of heat wave, and also it wants to reduce the health impact of extreme heat wave, especially on the population who are vulnerable, that are homeless population, children, elderly, etc. Now in terms of Indian cities, Ahmedabad was the first city to actually have its own heat wave action plan, which was implemented back in 2013. So these are the important facts related to heat action plan. Now what this study which is given in the article actually find? Now for their analysis, the researchers identified cities with population over 1 million. Now these cities were actually 8 in number, and these cities are chosen because it is expected to experience the largest increase in dangerous heat wave index values, which combines not just temperature but also humidity relative to their recent historical averages. So this considers cities like Bengaluru, Delhi, etc. Okay. Now the analysis, it found that although all the 9 cities had short-term emergency measures such as access to drinking water, changing work schedules, but longer actions or long-term actions were either entirely absent, or even if they were present, they were poorly implemented. So these were the challenges that were identified in the study. Also, long-term measures that can be implemented by the government, they include making households or occupational cooling services available. For example, if you're working in a factory, that factory need to have certain kind of ventilation system, coolers, ACs, to make the conducive or to make the working conditions more conducive for you to work in heat or during summer months. And also developing insurance cover is possible for the amount of lost work. Also, you need to expand fire management services for heat waves, because we have seen during heat waves there are increased cases of fire incidents. So fire department should be able to tackle these incidents so as to minimize the loss of property and also eliminate the loss of human lives. Also, during the heat waves, we see the demand for electricity increases naturally because of increased use of air conditioners. So that we need to retrofit the electricity grid or older electricity grid, and also we have to improve the transmission reliability and distribution safety so that these distribution networks do not get congested and they do not get out of order, so that we can use electricity as per our own demand. So these kind of long-term measures that respective government authorities need to take place in order to effectively prepare and deal with the heat wave incidents. Also, these cities have implemented action like expansion of urban shade and green cover and creation of open spaces so that the dissipation of urban heat should take place. But what these cities have done, they have taken this kind of an action not in populated regions or areas that have greater risk, but outside the city limits. So what is the point of such kind of a problem if it is not benefiting the population in a particular region? Also, what this study find that long-term strategies being implemented, they focus largely only on health system, not on how to prevent such kind of health problems to happen before these health problems happen. Now, it also highlighted that a requirement of more funding was necessary if cities were to implement long-term actions. And importantly, the analysis, it also found out that institutional constraint, it limit the possibility of implementation of long-term actions, because for such long-term actions to take place, you need coordination of different bodies, you need coordination of health authorities, you need coordination of electricity department, you need coordination of social welfare department, you need coordination of fire services. So all of these bodies need to act together, then only the long-term plans will be implemented effectively. But this coordination is not, or it is absent, or it is not quite effective in Indian cities. So these are the problems that have been identified by the government. Now that we have understood this article, let us solve the practice question. Consider the following statements regarding heat action plan in India. These are city specific plans and not implemented at the state or national level. The primary objective of HAPs is to build early warning systems, improve public awareness, and increase healthcare, strengthen healthcare response to extreme heat events. And the Indian Meteorological Department plays a key role in issuing heat wave forecast and implementing HAPs at the various level. And we have to identify incorrect statement. So please let me know which is the incorrect statement here. So what is the departure concept? Well, departure concept. What is the departure? Well, Shweta is asking, but northeastern states include them, sir. Well, not all northeastern states, primarily northeastern states that I told you, right? If I would have told you all northeastern states, the first statement would have been correct. Now, what is this departure concept, sir? Well, departure concept is that suppose if the temperature is more than 50, and in according to that condition, if rises more than 4.5 to 6.4 degrees centigrade. So, the existing temperature, which is more than normal temperature, and if it is more than 4.5 degrees centigrade from the normal, then it is classified as a heat wave. Understood the departure concept? Any doubt in that? Well, correct answer is ka. Well, heat action plans are city specific, but they also can be state and national level specific. So first statement is incorrect. The primary objective of HAPs is early warning. This is a straightforward statement, and I'm sure all of you know this is a correct one. The Indian Meteorological Department plays a key role in issuing heat wave forecast, that I've told you. But who implements these heat action plans at the various level? At the district level, it is implemented primarily by municipal authorities and state authorities. IMD work is just to issue warning, not to implement these measures in the ground level. Okay, so therefore third statement becomes incorrect. First already was incorrect, third is incorrect, 2-1 is correct. We have to identify correct statement. So option not option B, option C is your right answer. Okay, yes, Sarang, Yashi, Mohit, Lydia, all of you are correct. Now let's move to the last article of the day. This article, actually I've taken two articles from today's newspaper. Both of them appeared in the editorial section, that is in page 12. This is an editorial by Indian Express. This is written by our Health Minister JP Nadda. So therefore they've actually talked about tuberculosis, because 24th March every year is the National Tuberculosis Day. Now, in terms of tuberculosis, this is a bacterial infection which spreads through inhaling tiny droplets from cough or sneezes of an infectious person. So, therefore, the transmission of this disease happens person to person through air, much similar way in how the COVID transmission happened. So when people having lung TB, they cough, sneeze or spit out of these people might actually propel the TB germs into air, and if it is inhaled by a normal person, that person can be infected by TB. Now this TB, I told you, is a bacterial infection, so it is caused by a bacteria known as Mycobacterium tuberculosis. Now in terms of effect on humans, you have to understand TB, it most commonly affects the lung of a person, and this kind of a TB is known as pulmonary TB. Also, TB can affect other organs, and these are known as extrapulmonary TB. For example, there is a TB which happens in bone, that is known as bone TB. And in terms of curable, this is actually a treatable and a curable disease. So therefore, it becomes a curable disease, unlike many other diseases we have discussed in the past. Now, what the main problem the government and the healthcare professionals are facing is the emergence of drug resistant TB, which means bacteria, it becomes resistant to the drug which is used to treat TB, and this means drug can no longer kill the TB bacteria. Now drug resistant TB spreads in the same way that the drug susceptible TB spreads, but it can also occur when the drugs used to treat TB are misused or mismanaged. For example, if you consume too much of drugs of TB, there's a technical reason that a bacterial infection inside you or TB can mutate into a much more deadly and potent TB. Therefore, the drug resistant TB primarily happens when the treatment or the use of drugs during treatment is mismanaged or overused, right? Now, in terms of drug resistant TB, there are two types of drug resistant TB. First is known as multi-drug resistant TB, where the multi-drug TB does not respond to at least two kinds of a drug, that is isoniazid and the rifampicin, which are two most powerful anti-TB drugs. And also there is other known as extensively drug resistant TB, XDR TB, in which people are resistant to these two drugs, and in addition to that they are also resistant to fluoroquinolone and also at least one of the three second line injectable TB drugs known as amikacin, kinamycin, capromycin. So these are, if you are resistant to either of these drugs, then it is called as extensively form of drug resistant TB. Understood? Now let us understand some data related to the TB. Now in terms of incidence and mortality, TB incidence in India, it fell below the 200 mark from 205 per lakh population in 2022. It went down, it was earlier 237 per lakh in 2015. It went down to 195 per lakh in the 2022. So this is a 16% decline in TB incidence. Now in terms of TB mortality, India witnessed a drop from 23 per lakh mortality now in 2022, which is an 18% decline in terms of the figures back in 2015. So in terms of both incidence and mortality, India has witnessed a decline in TB. Similarly, in terms of treatment success rate, which is a figure based on 2021 data, severely drug resistant TB, it has the lowest success rate naturally of 45%, whereas MDR TB, it has a success rate of 74%, whereas pre-MDR TB, it has a success rate of about 68%. So these are the figures which you can quote in your answer writing. Understood? Now, what are the challenges that the government is facing? Despite several efforts, you can see that the improvement in reducing the incidence and mortality, sorry for that matter, is only 16 and 18%. So that means that there are indeed some challenges that the government and healthcare professionals are facing. So the first challenge in this regard is the high burden and slow decline in incidence. That I've told you, despite several efforts, incidences decline has only been 16%, whereas in terms of mortality, the decline is only 18%. And why this decline has not happened as per the government's wish is because in many cases there are delayed diagnosis and treatment. That as over 50% of TB patients, they seek care in the private healthcare sectors, which follow uneven standards of care. For example, there might be a diagnostic delay, there might be an improper treatment, and also mismanagement in terms of what kind of medication will be given, and this can lead to increased drug resistance in TB. Also, in terms of expenditures that the people make who face TB, this is growing in recent times because government, although it provides free care to TB for large population, but you can understand not just treatment is enough. You not just have free treatment, but you also are incurring many kind of indirect costs like wage loss, like transportation costs, and also if you have to hire a caregiver, it can also lead to higher costs. So therefore, out of pocket expenditure in many cases are quite high, and this deters people from seeking treatment, and it leads to non-compliance and relapse of the people. Also, there are other challenges. For example, there is a poor health system integration, that there is a lack of integrated screening for other diseases in TB patients, and also there is a weak referral linkages between private and public healthcare system. So therefore, if a patient is discovered as a TB patient in private healthcare center, it does not necessarily mean that the public health systems will be aware of this kind of a data. Also, there is a significant amount of stigma and social barrier attached to TB patients. As TB patients, they continue to face social stigma, especially women and vulnerable group, and this discourages them first of all to seek care and completing their treatment. And also, there is a very limited outreach in the marginalized groups, that is tribal, migrant and homeless population. They remain underserved due to geographical and socio-economic barriers, and this is why the treatments, they are not able to reach the marginalized population. That these are available in urban area, but in rural areas they have certain problems. So the next question is, what needs to be done in order to eradicate TB? What needs to be done in order to take care of the patients of TB in a much better manner? For that, we need to first of all strengthen the early detection and diagnosis, and for that we need to scale up the testing facilities which are available at the least or the lowest decentralized amount of healthcare centers, that are known as primary healthcare centers. Also, Ayushman Arogya Mandirs, which are known as health and wellness centers, also these can also have certain kind of facilities, so that it can have an AI based chest x-ray for upfront molecular testing, which will help identify the patients, and also it can introduce incentive for early reporting and diagnostic in the private sector. Similarly, we need to ensure that the complete financial protection is provided to the patient, not just their healthcare services, but also the other indirect costs like caregiving cost, transportation cost, wage loss, etc. needs to be taken care of. And for that, pilot livelihood program for TB survivors can be started, so that government at least shows that they are concerned about their livelihood. Also, we need to improve the engagement, particularly with the private sector. As I told you, over 50% of patients go to private sector healthcare institutes, and therefore we need to standardize the TB treatment protocol even for the private sector, that irrespective of the government hospitals or the private sector, both are following the same line of treatment. And also we need to establish a mandatory referral system, that in case a patient approaches a private healthcare center, these are automatically referred to the government. Also, we need to offer incentives to private healthcare providers, so that they adhere to the guidelines set by the government. And in addition, we need to address these stigma and awareness gaps that exist currently. For example, we can launch a targeted TB awareness program using a successful COVID model, and also we need to encourage TB champions to lead the awareness drives at the grassroots level, that only people in the grassroots level in the rural areas know that treatment of TB is must. You can't just ignore them just because you're facing stigma. And also we need to make people aware in the rural villages that stigma is not a right way to it. If it has happened to another person, it can also happen to your loved one. Understood? Sorry. Yeah. And also we need a targeted support for the vulnerable groups. As we have understood, tribals, rural people, women, people belonging to scheduled caste and scheduled tribe, they already face certain kind of stigma, and when God forbid they have TB, they also face a stigma attached to their diseases. So we need to target support provide to these vulnerable groups. For that, we need to provide mobile TB care units in remote and underserved regions, and ensure that gender sensitive and culturally inappropriate TB care delivery is happening, so that it takes care of all the stigmas that is existing in the rural areas. So this is how we approach TB care, particularly to deal with the challenges. Now, despite progresses, tuberculosis remains a major public concern in India. Identify the key challenges that hinder India's goal of TB elimination by 2025 and suggest policy measures to address them. Please divide your answers in 3 parts. I see most of you write very good answers, but it can still be improved. In terms of introduction, you need to give certain kind of data so that the person who's checking your copy knows that you know this particular answer. Also, what you need to do is conclude your answers well. In case you do not have a definite conclusion in mind, what I used to do usually is that I used to summarize the entire way forward in form of conclusion in just 2 to 3 lines. So this is how you approach the answer. I want to see how you write these answers. You can submit these answers on the Telegram group ATS Live. So if you are not subscribed to this particular Telegram group, please do it already. And if you like this video, if these sessions are helpful, please let me know in the comments, and also please hit that thumbs up button. It helps our content reach more people. So I'll see you again tomorrow at 4 p.m. Until then, please revise, please read important articles, and more importantly, please write the answers and submit it to me so that I can see them by 8 p.m.